Hey everybody, it's Jen from Jen Plans, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about how I use these two planners together, kind of. But I've been wanting to film this video for a long time, and the reason I haven't is because I haven't felt like I have found a really good groove using both of them. I've kind of been bouncing around between a couple different things, so I'm kind of, instead of talking about how it's working for me, I've realized that there are a lot of things that are working, but there are some that are not. So instead of waiting until the system is perfected, I thought I would just talk about it now and kind of just share how it's going. This is the Erin Condren LifePlanner in the hourly layout. And I know if you're an Erin Condren person, you know that there are, that was a note from my husband. There are 3 different layouts: vertical, hourly, and horizontal for the weekly pages. And then you have 2 options in each of those to do colorful or neutral. I'll link the video below of how I coiled together some components of the colorful and some of the neutral, but it's all hourly. In the past, I've only ever used the Life Planner, and it's still my main squeeze. It's still where everything goes. And then, well, I'll get into the Petite in a moment. So this is my Life Planner. This is like the current week that I'm in. And the way that I usually do things is my monthly is like my big overview of everything that's going on. So when I get the kids, you know, musical theater and golf and piano and Girl Scout schedule, I put all of those things right away into my monthly layout, and like baseball and stuff. And then when other things come in, like I got a shower invitation, that goes into the monthly layout. And then I also kind of use it to fill in, I don't know, just bits and pieces of the things that are kind of like set that aren't changing. Like my to-dos I put in my weekly because I can move those around based on what's going on here. So like no school, anything that I know for sure is happening on a specific day gets put into my monthly layout in my Life Planner. And then I use the page before. I've glued these together. You can see my whole review of this year's planner. I'll link that. I'll just link all the videos below. But I glue these together because I like to be able to turn and see the month from the tab. And then I use this page as kind of an overview of my big to-do list for the month. This is my monthly kind of overview. And then in the weeks, I use my weeks to kind of just give me like a deep dive into all the things that I need to do. And it's a combination of appointments. So like I put my appointments in first. Like I had a client call here, and I had, you know, a book club for my daughter here. We had a couple days off school. So this is a kind of a unique week. My son's baseball team party, I volunteered to help with the pie table at my kid's elementary school. But this is just kind of like my, you know, my whole week in one place. And then I always have loved the Erin Condren layout has a sidebar where you can put like, you know, whatever you want. But I use mine as a kind of a drilled down to-do list. So this is where like the details of my week live. And so I also include like throughout the week when I'm planning, I put in all my big stuff. And then like on a Sunday night, I'll fill in everything that I need for Monday. And then how I used to do it, and this is where I'm getting messed up. How I used to do it is every night or every morning in the early morning, I would kind of like plan out that following day. And so I would do that like every night or every morning. And that way I didn't forget stuff. Nothing fell through the cracks. I would remember in the morning, you know, if it was whatever, you know, if there's like a theme day where it's like, you know, wacky socks day or whatever. So that's how I used to use it. And then the Petite planner came along. So this is the on-the-go folio system. I keep 3 of the books in here. All of this is from Erin Condren. I'll link all of this stuff below. And at first I was like, I'm just gonna stick with one. I'll be fine. But I loved using these as like to take notes, journals. And then they started coming out with like, this one's the monthly planner. And so I started using that for like side projects. And I use the notebook for all kinds of to-do lists and just keep running notes of ideas. Like if I am out and I, you know, suddenly have a bunch of ideas for, you know, volunteering for the PTO or whatever, this is where I keep all of those. So that's kind of handy. This idea I got from Jennifer McIntosh. I keep a whole bunch of stuff back here. Usually I keep like $10 back here just in case I forget my wallet at home. And then in the front, I started keeping the daily planner. And so what would happen is I really like, I kind of started to do mock days in here just to kind of see what it was like. And I realized I really liked having a daily layout. And you can tell that like some of the days I don't need a daily layout. Like this day, I just did PTO volunteer stuff like all day, and then I came home and my kids did piano, and that was it. That was everything that happened. I was at the school all day, and then it was piano. So I don't need like a whole book for like just the day. These things I can fit, like I can fit all of this in a weekly layout. I don't need a daily book. But then there are other days when I found like the time that I would spend prepping the next day. On these days when I had like a lot of tasky things to do, I really like sitting down and writing things out. So like, where's a good example? I didn't finish all of the things, but I did sit down and like, okay, what are all the things? If I could do all the things I needed to do today, like we didn't have any plans because the kids were off school. So this whole page was like not even really necessary on this side, but I could list out like all of the things and just kind of brain dump. And I did a mirror. I have like a mirror monthly layout here and here. So these are the same. But then like, you know, other random stuff, like my daughter was like, can we please practice this one math problem that I'm having trouble with? So this kind of became, I don't know, like a kind of a catch-all for like the night before or morning of when I just really needed to like see, I just need like one day at a time. Because sometimes the week even can be overwhelming, although I love seeing it in a weekly layout. I hope I'm not like just totally rambling. I hope this makes sense to somebody. Anyway, I'm just walking you through what's been going on in my head. So I really like to kind of dump everything that I need into a daily because I can see like, okay, for only this day, what would I really like to get done? But the problem is, you might see where this is going. Problem is maintaining two pretty much identical content planners. Inevitably, things are going to become left out or forgotten. And that's exactly what happened. So I would like to say that I have a great system. However, I don't, because as much as I really love writing in both of these planners, and I've always been like, I just love to write everything, and I could write it 10 times and that would be fine. What would happen is I'd be out, and normally when I'm out, I would put like, not get an email like, hey, that, you know, the whatever event at the school is happening on this day. And so I'd put it in my phone. I have a little note for like things to add to my planner, which I still do. And then when I would sit down to plan, I'd put it in my planner. Oh, this was like just my weeks. This is a great example of what my life has been like. It was this week to this week to this week. It's just kind of all over. So anyway, sorry, I know I'm jumping around a lot. I was forgetting things and it all kind of came crashing down when I missed a parent-teacher conference. I put it in one place. I didn't put it in the other place. And I realized, you know, I don't know if it's realistic for me, maybe not for other people, but for me to maintain two planners with identical content. The reason that like my budget planner works and this and my home notebook is because they all have totally different content. And this is what I use for like most scheduling and basic to-dos. And I need like all my money stuff in my other planner. So like it makes sense to me to have those two separate. And as much as I love writing stuff down every single day on a fresh, clean new page, because there's just something refreshing about that, I'm realizing that if I don't, this gives me the best chance of not missing things. So I don't really know what my long-term solution is going to be. I feel like I don't want to totally give these up because I really love them and it's really fun to write something on a fresh page every single day. However, I don't need the space of a daily, and I'm missing things, like I'm forgetting things. That is not okay. And especially a parent-teacher conference, like for me, that feels unacceptable. Like I cannot be missing that kind of stuff. So it kind of made me feel like, oh, I don't know if I should even do this video because it's not going to make sense. But I really wanted to share it because I think, you know, unfortunately, I had like big time planner piece with like just my one hourly planner. It was like totally my jam. And then this, you know, like all the planners do, it's like, ooh, pick me, choose me, look what I can do. I'm so great and I can offer you other things. And it's fun to kind of experiment, but yeah, I mean, when you have the same content in two different places, you're bound to forget things. Things are going to slip through the cracks. So I don't really know what the solution is. I mean, I think I kind of know what the biggest solution is. This needs to be my primary, everything needs to go in here 100% of the time. And then maybe once I do all of this stuff, I can sit down and look at this in the morning and plan a more detailed version of my day here. But I can't do this one going forward without doing this. And that's kind of what was happening. Like on weeks that I would just have a totally blank, I mean, like you can see my weeks, like some of them were like completely. I took many, you know, minutes to sit down and like really plan everything out and make it look, you know, all coordinated, which I love doing. I really enjoy doing it. It's like peaceful for me. This gets me through. You know, this is way more function. But then, you know, plenty of weeks that were just, you know, nothing like this. Oh, I did it maybe more than I thought. This was a week that I probably just grabbed this and did like 3 days out of. So I don't know. The hard part is, oh, see, another week where like nothing happened. But this is where I started forgetting things. And so that's not okay. So I think moving forward, this is going to be, again, you know, it's like I shouldn't have changed it up because it was working for me. The main squeeze all the time. And then after I've done this, pull this out, if I feel like I need a little bit more room in a daily, and maybe I'll just stop using the monthly. But anyway, this is kind of, I don't know, I feel like this is a weird video, but this is where my brain is at. I hope it makes sense. I hope it wasn't just a lot of rambling. But in my effort to kind of like try different things, I'm realizing that I need to just stick with the things that work best for me. So this is it. This is my EC hourly. So I'll link all of these planners. I'll link, you know, of course, this one, and I'll link all the Petite planners and the on-the-go stuff. Yeah, that's where I'm at. So if you guys have any questions, I don't know, do you ever feel this way? Do you ever kind of jump around and then you realize you have figured out what works for you and you need to kind of go back to it? That's where I'm at. So anyway, this is how I use, or I guess maybe unsuccessfully use both of them together. This is why I've been procrastinating this video, because I felt like I didn't have a great thing to share, but I'm just sharing this instead because this is what's really happening. So I hope that's helpful for somebody. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I will answer them the best I can. And of course, like I said, I'll link everything below. So thanks so much for watching.